football. I didn't know really what to expect from this game, but man, did the Chargers come out to play. They looked awesome. They pushed the ball down the field. They ran it well. The O-line with Joe Alt return streak right there. And you guys can see is the line is just absolutely collapsing. They're pushing in, but look at the coverage. This receiver here covered, 2 defenders, Henley in the area, outside receiver is covered. And look at 43 winning his matchup as well. It's just the defense all night long just delivering, and Wentz had nowhere to go, and he's brought down for the sack. This is a thing of beauty, man. And take a look at Herbert on a bootleg, and he's able to just step up in the pocket, evade the rushers, and hit Trey Harris for his first career NFL touchdown. So we'll kind of break these plays down. So it's just a handoff, of course. Well, it's a play action fake. And all of a sudden, because the Chargers had been running the ball well all night, they've got a 14-3 lead, as you guys can see. So you'd think it's a run on first down, but Herbert pulls it, and then he hits Gadsden down the field. And the thing about this play is he got a massive gain. This would have been a big play in itself, but he is able to bring the ball back and then, of course, just run by Smith for the big gain. And Gadsden ended up finishing the night, guys, with 77 receiving yards and that touchdown that we showed. Last week against the Colts, he had a breakout game. I mean, really the past several weeks, of course, he stepped up, especially when Quentin Johnson was hurt. The Gadsden, we talked about him coming out of Syracuse, as he was, the steal of the draft. We talked about him all camp and how he's been breaking out, and we're starting to finally see it come into fruition here. Gadsden's been incredible. On this play, it's just shotgun formation, 3rd and goal, obvious pass situation. You know that, hey, look, just don't put the ball into harm's way. If we don't get this, at least we get 3 points. But Gadsden wins his matchup 1-on-1, and he would end up being flagged on this for taunting, but who the hell really cares? I mean, if I ran a route like that, I would have done the same thing, and he lets his defender know about it. It's just a very, very confident thing for a rookie to do, and you guys can see, I don't know why the screen looks kind of like this, but Gadsden just wins his 1-on-1 matchup with a beautiful route to the inside, and Herbert puts down the money and the possession catch going down with it. And now we've got, of course, a fullback in motion and an extra blocker, actually a tight end in motion, and then they've got Matlock out there, and it's just going to be a handoff to the left side, and this is just pure power running football. Vidal shakes off a defender, puts his head down, and keeps turning. Vidal's looked like an absolute monster the past couple of weeks. Well, he was quiet against the Colts, but that's just because they obviously were down early on and they had no choice but to throw. But Vidal, 23 for 117 and a touchdown, had a long of 21, which shows the big playability. The Chargers rushed for over 200 yards. I mean, man, this was to me, this was the best game of the season. This was the best win. I know the Vikings haven't exactly played like the best football, but they nearly beat the Eagles last week. They've been competitive. Got a lot of work to do. They've got a long ways to go. But again, it's a week-to-week league, is it not? You can lose to the Colts by 14 or whatever at home, and then you can blow the brakes off of the Vikings the next week at home. So I'm very impressed with how this team ended up bouncing back. And I know we're only showing kind of the same plays here. That's just for copyright reasoning. We will actually, I'm flying literally in like 3 hours. I have a flight I got to go catch. So I might not make a video for a couple of days, but we will do a full breakdown of this game definitely when the tape's out and I can't get copyrighted. Didn't know if it was a pass or if it was a run. And the Chargers are obviously at their best when Justin Herbert is only throwing 25 attempts. Every team is Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. When these quarterbacks don't have to drop back 40, 50 times a game, they are going to be a lot more methodical. 43 carries for the Chargers, 25 passing attempts. They win by 27 points. It's not a coincidence. And the ball was spread around. Keenan Allen had 44 yards, Gadsden 77, McConkey 88. And then Vidal, of course, with his legs. Justin Herbert also had 62 rushing yards, which we've got to take into consideration. Yeah, he did throw 227 yards, but he rushed for another 62. And, of course, he threw that interception, which was off of the tip. See, Herbert nearly had 2 interceptions. There was almost a pick six early on in this game. If that had been a pick six, this might have been a different game, man. But the momentum with the Chargers getting that back, of course, and pushing it down the field. But this is one of those games where just every single level the Chargers deliver. Like, the only kind of negative thing from this game was that Cameron Dicker, like, miraculously missed a kick. I mean, this dude just doesn't miss kicks. He's the most accurate quarterback in NFL history. But 37 points at home after what happened last week. I mean, don't get me wrong. Herbert threw for over 400 yards. He had his career high in yards last week. But it was a very sloppy, like, sluggish type of offensive performance. I mean, there was turnovers. There was big plays. But tonight, the Chargers were just in control, and I'm just super impressed with how they played. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect coming into this game, but the team from the very start They took control of this game with a 7-0 lead, and then after that, they just ran away with it, 14-3. They did get outscored in that third quarter, but after that, of course, they settled down 13-0, of course, with a touchdown and those two field goals. Putting points on the board is always going to be a good thing. The offense, to me, was the story of this game. Like, the defense was lights out and deserves credit, but the Chargers' offense all season long, we've been kind of waiting for this type of performance to where from start to finish, they're just moving the ball down the field at will consistently, taking care of it. And we haven't seen the Chargers run like this in a while. I mean, 207 yards. It's just usually Herbert is like the leader in rushing. And of course, no Amari Hampton and no Najee Harris. But Vidal stepped in and he looks like an absolute stud. And, Hampton was running behind the same line. So was Najee Harris briefly before he got injured. So, they might have something of Vidal. And I know a lot of Charger fans that I spoke to actually liked him from the start when he was drafted. So I personally wasn't big on Vidal. I don't like when I look back on training camp, I didn't think that he should have even made the roster. But hey, man, what do I know, right? Obviously, I'm not out there on the field every single day, and we're gonna make things predictions wrong. But I was right about Gadsden, so very wrong on Vidal and very right on Gadsden. I talked about him all the time in camp and how he's breaking out, and sooner rather than later was going to be emerging as a top target for the Chargers. And he's been the go-to guy. Like, Ladd McConkey's been getting a lot of work, but Keenan Allen's kind of gone down a little bit. He's still getting the ball. But remember, he was catching like 7-8 balls for like 80-plus yards a game. But he's kind of slowed down, and now it's been Gadsden and McConkey. Of course, Quentin Johnson, they'd love to just get him back and healthy. So without him, though, they're going to be relying a lot on Gadsden, which to this point is kind of fine because he's been delivering. That's pretty much all I got in this game. I definitely want to go back and rewatch it and look at the tape. Chargers were just playing catch up. See, the Bolts, they're very good when they play with a lead because they can run through their defense and they can put the ball on the ground, play action. When you're losing and you're losing and you're losing, it puts Herbert in a situation to where he has to drop back and basically be a superhero. And that's when you see him start to make mistakes. Like, he throws the ball, tries to go over Grover Stewart, and ends up being tipped at the line of scrimmage. He forces one to a receiver, and Nick Cross makes an unbelievable play and just jumps the route. So, that's on Herbert, obviously, but he doesn't make those errant plays if the game is a little bit closer, but he feels like he has to do something